Although there is no video to this, it's just a monologue, just audio. I'm going to give you some insights into my targeting, which will probably apply in your own experience also, and it might help you to work things out a little bit. What I've learned is that originally I believed that my targeting was due to one woman who had connections, and you can hear about that in my part 1, where I describe how I became in this situation. And that woman, you can hear her on my neighbour noise video also. And I've also got a video where she's plainly indulging in intimidation tactics, and I'll put that up soon also, so you can see her. Now, I believed all this was several years ago now, about 4 years ago. I believed it was all due to her having connections. But when I moved 5 miles away, the same kind of behaviour began. Then I moved again 5 miles away from that address, and exactly the same things. The same tappings, the same door slammings, as I've discussed in artificial intelligence neighbour noise. And what I've learned is that this is a very big network. It's not just a local group, it's a big network. And I'll explain something which will throw some light on it. When I first moved into where I am now, the flat, it's a 3-story building, the flat upstairs, on the other side. When I was moving in, the son of my next door neighbour, 5 miles away, that I was moving, was looking out the window with his friend and laughing. And somebody I'd seen going into that property 5 miles away, where I'd moved from, came down the stairs. This is on the day I was moving in, yeah? So this flat where I am now is either a setup in that they deliberately knew what I was looking for online, which they did, because this is another link, how you can work things out, how this network works. The public library, I was using that to look for on websites for obviously you Google what you want. Sorry, you put in the search engine in the sites what you want, whether you want 1 bed, 2 bed, whatever you want. You get me? So they obviously know what I was looking for. And obviously I was using my phone a lot, phoning around agencies, because I wanted to desperately move from that area. I was being persecuted very badly and harassed, antisocial behaviour, you name it. So they knew. So it's quite possible that this is a setup, a trap, that they have certain properties available, or they make them available to themselves, and they set them up and fit them out so that they can get maximum access to that target, and in order to harass them and other things, which I'll go into that later. But so you have that, and it's undoubtedly unbelievable that happened, that in a place 5 miles away, what I've just said has happened, the same people. So then you also have incidents of people coming on the stairs, because it's a communal building, shouting things, which you know what they will be. I can tell you, but if you've listened to my other audios, you know what those things will be. And they're pretty much the same as what happened at the last property. So the people at the last property, this is going to help me to link things up how it works. The people at the last property are involved in drugs. Not huge amounts of drugs, but not small amounts either. I'd say up to £1 million. You have a wheelie bin, 3/4 full of little bags that look like cocaine to me. 3/4 ounce bags, that's what they look like. You're talking, if they're moving that sort of stuff on a regular basis, you're talking up to £1 million. That's what I worked it out as. And that's none of my business. But unfortunately, that was captured on my CCTV camera. And I think it was some kind of setup to see if I would, maybe it wasn't cocaine, maybe it was, I don't know, powdered milk or sugar or something in little bags. And I think that was either some kind of a setup to see whether I would report it or not. I don't know. But obviously, you're in that situation, you're not going to report something like that. Because you don't really know what's going on. And I'll explain how this network works. So, this property is council property, the one where I saw the people from the previous and that is 5 miles away. It's two completely different councils. So for people 5 miles apart to be able to do this and to get a council property, I presume it's council, the rest of the apart from one or two, then you have quite a big network, and you also have the police that are involved. I'll say the police, I'll say some members at least of the police that have obviously got authority. And this works through what they call a fusion centre. So you have councils, police, GPs, hospitals, everything is all kind of connected. They're all emailing each other and keeping each other updated and things like that. So that's abused. So you have network, you have people within each facility. And you also have, and this is significant, I stayed at a hotel. I didn't stay there very long. It was in the morning. I was having some work done at the place where I was living, and I was tired, and I got a very cheap room. Now, this was like a last-minute thing. It was like the day before, yeah? So how did they know I was going to be there the day before? But not only that, there was a person staying in this hotel, and this is where it makes sense. She was put there by the council because she was homeless. And she was Irish, as a lot of my perps are. Or rather, they have Irish accents. I don't know if they are Irish. They have Irish accents. Like a kind of very thick tinker accents, traveller accents. Not all of them, but quite a lot of them do. And she was put in the hotel because she was homeless. Okay, right. Now, I have stayed at this place before, so it's quite likely that I would stay there in the future also. So she's put in there, and on the day I was in there, there was horrendous banging from the room upstairs. And I told the person that was working there, and they said that they tidy the beds. They were doing the beds. And I said, well, it's been going on 45 minutes. And the person said that, that they're probably in the next room or something. Now, I know this person believed that. But what I saw was when I looked out through the spy hole in the hotel door was the Irish girl who said she was in there because of domestic violence. The council had put her in there till they could find her somewhere to live. She, with, now check this, from my previous address, this is many years ago, 3 years ago, were the people who dealt with the drugs, the people who killed the pet, all that. Now, this started before this, the tapping and nonsense and stuff, but these people, there was a woman, and she has gang-stalked me on many other occasions, very, very obviously, in a way that cannot be denied. And her connection is I have seen her going into that house where I previously lived, 5 miles away, holding her head down. It's unmistakable. I saw her face. And she also gang-stalked me after that. But this occasion, she was in the hotel with the Irish girl. And I saw them coming along the corridor, and I recognised her instantly, and she was with the Irish girl. And they had gone upstairs. So what happened is the Irish girl's already staying there. This woman who's involved in this targets him. Very, very smartly dressed. She was wearing quite an expensive blouse. I knew it because I've seen it in fashion magazines. The exact blouse had a very distinctive pattern on it. And so she's always got money. And she obviously went in when this girl was staying there, and they went upstairs and did all the banging. How did they get in the room? Presumably they're all locked. So they obviously have some way of doing this, and she'd come there on purpose to do that. Honest to God. This is how insane these people are and how determined they are. And I've seen her leave. And so I'll leave with the Irish girl. So there you have, that is how the network works. And this woman with the dark hair, the blouse that I'd seen 5 miles previously, was also the same woman on my birthday. If you listen to my other audios, it's the same person that was at the train station. And then when I went to city centre for my birthday, she just walked in a bar, stood there with what I will call two children, like 11 at night. One of them plastered in makeup. She couldn't have been a day over 14. And they just came in this bar. And just obviously she couldn't get a drink. She's with children. And she just stood there. They just stood there and gave me the most disgusting look, like they'd stood in something. Got my attention, yeah? Then they left. That's all. They came down to the city centre to do that. And another incident when this woman stalked me was connected to the police. So you see how the network's growing. You have council, because the council got the Irish girl into the hotel. And there was definitely two people doing the banging in the hotel. And I could hear them saying the same phrases and stuff. And one of the gang stalkers does have an Irish accent, a woman as well as a man. And you have the council, and you also have people in the police, because when this woman, the woman with the dark hair, the blouse, she stalked me on another occasion, and it was when I was waiting for a bus, and a police officer turned up, and he stood at the stop next to mine for a long time, and I got on the bus stopped at the lights. I looked back to see what he was doing, and he was looking at the reg of the bus, and then he walked off. He'd waited at the bus stop 10 minutes to get the reg of the bus that I'd got on, and then I saw him looking at it, and he just walked off. And then I was stalked. I thought something's going to happen on this bus as usual. Stalker's going to get on. He was. So I got off and I went in a bar and got a pint. And I was just finishing the pint. Everything was perfectly normal until this woman turned up. And that woman turned up, the one with the blouse. She wasn't wearing it on this occasion. But she turned up with 3 men. I think it was 3 men, one. I think it was 2 men that I remember, yeah, and a young boy who I took to be a son. And that's when things started to go into the gang stalking mode. With I've talked about this on another audio, but basically she got the woman behind the bar to change the song that was playing in the pub to a song that they used to harass me with, and they began talking very loudly. Using the triggers and things like that, and it's the same words they use all the time in the conversation, the same things they say, and they sat very near me, and the woman had this expectant look, like she was waiting for something to happen, like she was there, and she got the boy to put the song on, to go and ask behind the bar to put the song on. I think it was on his phone or something. I don't know how they did it, but I heard them, and they just sat there like waiting for the songs to come on, and then they was all like looking at each other as if they was waiting for something to happen. And then they started doing the stuff they're talking about, the stuff that they directed conversation, if you like. But obviously I'd nearly finished my drink, and I'd only got in there to evade the gang stalkers, so I left. So they got there for what, about 10 minutes, I think, 5-10 minutes. So that just shows the links between, you have the council involved, putting the woman in the hotel, the flat above, yeah. And you also have the police. You have the police officer looking at the reg. And I've had the police involved on other occasions where I've been stalked over a very, very obvious way by somebody who stalked me on other occasions. And like I've said previously, they've got into a police car when they believed it's been out of sight. The police car's gone past all the lights out, 2 miles an hour, so I can't see the reg. This is at night, yeah. And then when I've ran to look in the direction the stalker's gone, I've seen him getting into the police car. So they've dropped him off to do his stalking, and they're picking him up. And that is going on. And that is how this fusion thing is working. And I can't see this being unique. I can see this working in virtually every other target's experience, because it seems the same situations are occurring to other people that are occurring to me. And I'd also like to say about how they're using everything they can. Electromagnetics, definitely, but I'll do another talk on that because it's quite a big subject about how they do it. And not only how they plant people around you. I mean, what type of people? I used to go in these bars. I never had any trouble before. And what type of people will... I was in a bar, and this is one of the regular stalkers. And this used to be a favourite pub of mine. I used to go in there many, many times a week. And it's just become saturated with gang stalkers now, as well as the what I call transmissions, but I'll do another talk on them. So you have like this woman turning up there, meeting the other gang stalkers, and I'd say she's in her 60s, and she obviously lives nearby, and she took her coat off and said, "Oh, I was just getting ready for bed. I'd just got my nightie on when I got your text." And this was like about 11:30 at night, you know. And that's what time I'd gone in there. I think I'd been in there about half an hour, 20 minutes or something. I'd just gone in for the last one, you know. And they got her in, you know. "Oh, come in," like they must have said to her, "This, you know, one of our victims here or something." But she was like, "Oh, I was just getting ready for bed." And I thought, well, why are you coming in for like just for half an hour just to harass me? Which they proceeded to do that. Again, using the directed conversation, the same words, the same things. So this is very big, and it makes you wonder about the mentality of these people. And it's obviously organised. I don't think it's it's obviously not one or two people. It's organised. It's a network, and these people think very, very differently. They must live differently. They're sadistic. And it seems to me that targets are spoiling their party in some way, because they live differently, they have different values, different ideals. They obviously participate in things that are not only illegal, but that are non-integrous, sadistic. They have to hide these things. What they're doing is so horrible that they have to hide them. And obviously people that are targets, what I've looked at, they tend to be good people on the whole. They do, I mean, unless they're very good at acting, which you never know. But so you've got two opposites, if you like. You've got the people doing the gang stalkers and the perps in the net that have infiltrated the police and the councils and stuff, and doing all this bad stuff. Which, I mean, the stuff they did to my family's gravestone, and also killing pets and stuff. What sort of people are you talking about here? You're talking about subhumans. So you've got those type of people, and then obviously anybody that doesn't like that is going to grass them up. They're going to whistleblow. They're going to say they're doing, and they, from what I can see, these people want to get away with this. They want society to be run on their terms. They want the power, and they're not using fair means to get it. That's why they do all these underhand things. And the people that are reporting them, the whistleblowers, the people that are reporting them, the people that are making a stand against them, those with eyes to see and the intelligence to work it out, are a threat to them, and they're spoiling the party, because these people want total control. And from what I can see, they have quite a lot of control over the town. It's like they're running the town, you know. A corrupt faction, a corrupt network is running the town. And people that are reasonably integrous and that can see this are a threat to them, and they want them out of the way. so they can carry on doing all the bad things they're doing. And from what I can see, I do believe this is linked to some kind of a cult. It's a group of people with very different beliefs and very different motivations than the targets. And as this is worldwide, you got to remember, paedophilia is worldwide. You have all the little people doing it because it was done to them that aren't part of a larger group, and then you've got an undoubted network, what is called a paedophile ring, in many countries. And I don't know because I haven't seen it, and I certainly don't want to see it. But to me, it seems a similar mentality to that, where something very wrong, very horrible is going on, and the only people that are a threat to it are those that are integrous and those that can see it and know about it and want to expose it. And I think this is true of what is happening to targeted individuals. Whether they've done anything to report or whistleblow or not, I don't know. It's just a very fact of what they are, that these people can see through it. They can see through it and also see through the lies of society as well and how it works. I just thought I would put this on because in the beginning of my targeting, I believed it was just one woman and people she knew and she had contacts, and it's very possible she was part of this network. But looking at it now, I reported a factory prior to all this harassment and stuff. I mean, I had bits of it throughout my life, but never every single day and from multiple areas like I have now. I reported a factory, and that was part of a group called Endless, which are a private equity firm based in Leeds. But when I reported them, they was buying themselves, the CEO, and somebody else was buying the company off Endless. And you're talking a £50 million turnover a year, and I reported them for 18 months solid. They was making my life a misery. 18 months solid, and I reported them to the council for 18 months. And thinking about what I know now about this network, how the police and the council work together to persecute and harass you and make your life a misery, it doesn't go beyond saying that it's true that a large factory like that with multiple, and these factory people were also liaising with MPs as well, local MPs, about extending factories and having factories in other places and things and bringing jobs into the area and all that stuff. So who's got the most influence? Somebody who is just an individual like myself, or people that have large factories and they know lots of other people and they're connected, they have connections to private equity and they have a £50 million turnover and they can have loads of jobs. It's like, when I look at it that way and I look at the next door neighbour who kept tapping on the wall every 10 minutes and stuff, if she did, I mean, that could have been some kind of what's happening, with the way they do it, the stuff they use to do things like that, the technology. But I'm saying this, it was recorded, it was recordable, and other people heard it and it was recordable. And also you can hear her yourself shouting her head off in my neighbour noise thing. So, it's not a figment of my imagination, it's not just V2K. So anyway, it's quite possible that they got this woman to start persecuting me to get me out of the property because I was living near the factory and causing an immense amount of problems for this factory by reporting them consistently over a period of about 18 months. And I remember there was a car parked outside my home, and it was a green car, and the last three letters of the reg were DDT. And I remember that. and somebody just sat in it for like an hour, maybe 2 hours. And this was consistent again over about 18 months. While I was reporting the factory, because it had to go on over 18 months because it was very tricky. It was very clever. They kept stopping what they were doing and starting it again, stuff like that. So I remember that being a very, very odd thing. And when I opened my door to go out to the people in the car, I wanted to ask them what they were doing there. Are you okay? Is everything, are you whatever? I just wanted to know what was going on. And every time I opened the door, the car would start its engine up and drive off really quickly. And then it got to where I didn't even have to go out the door. I'd just open the door. They must have been watching the door, and then they would drive off. So there's just a woman sat there. I couldn't see her properly. I could see her. She had dark hair. And from the upstairs window, there was a large leather bag on the front seat with a phone propped on the top, which she wasn't looking at. So they were just sat there. And then something very strange happened in the local library where I was approached by a blonde woman who was a complete stranger to me. And she asked me if I knew, I'll say the name was Mr. Smith, right? And that's my landlord. And which it was at the time, and she said she used to do work with my landlord at a casino. And could she have his number? Would I give her my landlord's number? I thought this was very, very odd. I'd never been stalked, harassed, nothing. I didn't know nothing about targeted individuals or gang stalking at this point. And I said, no, but I can give my landlord your number. So I took her number and gave it to the landlord. The landlord said he didn't remember her. And not at all. He didn't remember her. But he did used to work in a casino a long time ago. But he did not remember this person at all. So it's quite possible that when I thought it was an individual, the individual had been brought into harassment by people at the factory, and that would easily have been done because I was visited by the manager of that factory at my home, who asked me to show him and talk to him and tell him and point out through the window what was the problem, which I did. And then he asked me if any other neighbours were complaining, and I said I wasn't sure. So a couple of people didn't like it, but they was used to it by now. And he said, "Who's this?" And he wanted to know. He was very interested. And looking at it this way, he'd never done anything to help me. He used to ignore my calls. He'd lied point blank, tried to make me look like a fool to the council. So he'd never tried to help me, and all of a sudden he wants to go and visit the neighbours to find out, to try and help. No, it was nothing to do with helping. In retrospect, when I look at it, he was visiting the neighbours to see what he was up against. And it was shortly after that the next door neighbour, I heard her say, she's been complaining about the factory again. I heard her say that to somebody. And it was after that all the problems began with that woman. And subsequently, after that. So, I mean, it's many years now. It's 5 years after all this. And the targeting is just getting more and more extreme. They're using more and more things. So that's quite possible. It's quite possible that that is why I've been targeted. And it makes a little bit more sense now when I've seen with my own eyes that the council and that the police are working together on this. Without the council and the police, the harassment could not occur the way it is. And also the harassment with emergency sirens as well. So you have a network, and people are not just doing this because legitimate reasons. It's obviously with those people coming in the hotel. There's no legitimate reason to do that to somebody. They're doing that to harass them. And I'd just like to make that the point about the way everything is sort of, it's like synergized together, homogenized. No, not homogenized. It runs through the council, it runs through the police, it runs through here and there, and then they use their powers, considerable powers, to disrupt your life as well. And if they so wanted to, the private equity company could easily join in, because the amount of places that they have, and it would be very easily done. So I put that on. Again, I don't know it was a factory, you see. I know that the police are involved. I know that the council are involved. Certain members, I won't say they're all involved, but certain members. And once they've got that power, they can influence other people within the council, other people within the police, to view you in a particular way and to treat you in a particular way. And they can say, oh, this person's crazy, or this person's made these many complaints, or this person's... And that is a cover-up, really, for who they're getting back at. Okay, I just wanted to put that out. Okay, thank you. God bless.